Good morning, church. Happy New Year and happy feast of the Epiphany. The two great parts of the Catholic Church, the Western Roman and the Eastern Orthodox, have two great feast days celebrating the life of Christ before us. On December 25th, the Western Roman Church emphasized the birth of Jesus as the Prince of Peace. And on January 6th, the Eastern Orthodox Church emphasizes the Epiphany of the Lord. Today, we Roman Catholics tend to think of the Christmas season as beginning with the birth of Jesus on December 25th and ending with the Feast of the Epiphany on January 6th. So let me set some background to the Christian message. There have only been two great empires in the history of humanity. The more recent British Empire that controlled 1/4 of the world for almost 2 centuries, and the Roman Empire with Caesar Augustus as the leader, who fought and conquered 50 countries and controlled 1/5 of the world's population at the time of Jesus. The people were so enamored with Caesar that they called him the Son of God, and the star that had risen in the west to lead the world. But after the death and resurrection of Jesus, the gospel writers point to Jesus as the real star that God anoints to lead the people in the way of peace and justice. Let me read the gospel for today's Feast of the Epiphany. It's from Matthew chapter 2, verses 1 through 12. When Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of King Herod, behold, Magi from the east arrived in Jerusalem, saying, "Where is the newborn King of the Jews? We saw his star at its rising and have come to do him homage." When King Herod heard this, he was greatly troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. Assembling all the chief priests and the scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Christ was to be born. They said to him, "In Bethlehem of Judea. For thus it has been written through the prophet, and you, Bethlehem, land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah, since from you shall come a ruler who is to shepherd my people Israel." Then Herod called the Magi secretly and ascertained from them the time of the star's appearance. He sent them to Bethlehem and said, "Go and search diligently for the child. When you have found him, bring me word, that I too may go and do him homage." After their audience with the king, they set out. And behold, the star that they had seen at its rising preceded them until it came and stopped over the place where the child was. They were overjoyed at seeing the star, and on entering the house they saw the child with Mary his mother. They prostrated themselves and did him homage. Then they opened their treasures and offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they departed for their country by another way. What is this feast of the Epiphany? And what is the gospel message placing before us? The dictionary defines the word epiphany as a moment in life when you suddenly feel that you understand or become conscious of something that is very important to you. It is a moment in which you suddenly see or understand something in a new or very clear way. When I look at the world and notice injustice caused by the two empires, I am aware that God is showing me a reality that needs to be addressed. By shining His light upon the injustice so that I can see it, He is presenting me with the opportunity to do what is in my power to change the situation. But many times I prefer not to see so that I don't have to act. Today the Eastern Church lets the light of Christ shine for us. We can avoid the light and stay safe, or we can let it guide us to the opportunity to change the injustice. A personal example. A priest friend of mine was complaining about a stressful situation in his life. He felt he was being treated unfairly. I thought he was overreacting, but I said nothing. A year later, my friend told me that he was very appreciative of a priest who had set him straight when he was complaining about a stressful situation the year before. The priest told him that he was overreacting and that he ought to look inside himself to find the remedy. He basically told my friend to grow up. My friend had an epiphany. He took the advice and changed. And he was grateful to the priest who had helped him see. The disappointing aspect for me was that I had the same thoughts, but I chose not to say them to him. I did not help him see himself as he really was. Rather than face the pain of confrontation, I did not help my friend to see the epiphany that he needed to see. Every day, all of us are offered an epiphany. The light of Christ shines into our lives. We can let this light confront us and help us grow, or we can choose to stifle the light and remain in the dark. Today, on the Feast of the Epiphany, the eastern half of the Christian Church points to the light of Christ and calls us to follow our King. And so, the question, dear church, did you have an epiphany during the year of 2020? Did you notice any injustice in our country as we quarantined? How did you react? Do you think God will give you an epiphany in this new year of 2021? And how will you respond? God bless you.